Freedom Funnel. Yeah, welcome to the new edition of Between Two Flags. You can see my breath because all this global warming. It's June, but it's really cold here in Alberta. So without further ado, thank you so much for tuning in. We've got some really special guests here tonight. It's going to be a great show. So without further ado, my co-host Jason. How are you doing, Jason?
Good afternoon to Canada. Good evening, Canada. Good morning, Vietnam, and good day, New Zealand. Welcome. Haere mai. Welcome to the show. What do we got today?
We have Colin Big Bear, and you'll have to pronounce. I'm sorry, you'll have to pronounce the Maori name.
That's okay. We've got a return guest. We've got Tater. Tater is his. That's a Maori pronunciation. Taylor being his English pronunciation, and we've got Weaponization, and they're from Te Arawa Haumaru. Even I have to check sometimes. Te Arawa Haumaru, and today we're talking about the topics. We're extending our discussion from the other day, and we're segueing into the Indigenous peoples movement and the weaponization of it. The two classes of Indigenous peoples that have been created, and mainly spearheaded by the United Nations. So, shall we welcome our guests, and then we'll get into the context?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jason. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let's bring. Would you like me to bring everybody on?
Yeah, let's just do it.
Okay, all right, very good.
Hi, Colin.
First up is Colin Big Bear, all the way from Canada.
I love your new hat.
Thank you.
Second up, we've got Weaponization, all the way from New Zealand.
Weaponization, you're.
And finally,
everybody's
best friend, it's Tater.
Kia ora, everybody from New Zealand.
Kia ora. Kia ora from Canada.
We say tanse in my language. Tanse. Hello.
Tanse, brother.
Tanse.
All right, very good. So we've got them all lined up here now.
I'll just state now that I'm just at work and that, but I popped into a bit of a pump shed. Bit of a pump shed on the middle of the farm there, just to get out of the wind, so we're not ailed with the noise in that. So
there you go. There's the view. Life on the farm. Beautiful.
Wow. Oh, beautiful.
And the trusty farm dog.
But bit of time out there for you guys in that, but it's quite windy and cold in New Zealand, being winter. And that is probably already like that up your area.
Well, it's windy and cold here in Canada, and we're supposed to be like in the almost the height of summer. So yeah,
wow.
You can see my breath.
Yeah, global warming. Global warming at its finest.
Right?
All those cows farting.
I know. Yeah. Oh, I'm so cold. It's June.
Better eat more bugs.
And yeah, actually, you know what? That's actually quite popular here. Without Klaus Schwab, Vietnam and Cambodia, man, they actually have a diet of bugs. There's bugs in my kitchen. There's like literally, it's in the fridge, and it's not mine, by the way, not mine at all.
Well,
now today for the first. Sorry, Judy, go ahead.
It sounds like a you problem. I won't eat the bugs.
It's my partner. She just chows down on the stuff. Yep, wow. She just goes for it. Now today we have for the first time we have Weaponization. So I'm gonna bring him up. Hello, Weaponization.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Kia ora. Weaponization, you're part of Te Arawa Haumaru as well.
Yes. Te Arawa Haumaru. So
And what's your role? In,
my role is
I'll tell you, he's,
Yep.
he's one of our leaders, our chiefs.
uh-huh.
Yeah, one of the main leaders.
Oh, very good.
My
Tanakwe,
job
Tanakwe.
really just to coordinate and bring people. We're trying to spread and to bring more into our home, Kaitiaki, home guardian. So guardian state to help our people and help all people just to try and mitigate some of the things that are rolling out upon our people throughout New Zealand. And so not my brother Watson has told me, come on, have a talk, listen, and find out where you guys are at and how we can, I guess, just share ideas. What we're doing here in New Zealand, Rotorua especially, we are looking at each other as our tribal members of this area, and also coming together with other areas known as Confederation of Chiefs, Whakaminenga in our language. So each one has its own protectorate, its own boundaries, and it's and it's kind of like when in Rome do as Romans do. We here do not transgress upon others' areas. Where we go there, we become part of them, and we are under their authority. So we are setting up our own separate authorities in terms of a separate parliament. Well, for New Zealand, each Māori was a separate sovereign state. Whatever country, whatever, we look at our country as our separate area, our separate rohe, the boundary. So it's just trying to set up and also setting up in terms of going against what's being rendered upon us by this government, taking a stand and going back to where we originally were the sovereign nation of Aotearoa, but we were many sovereign states coming together as a confederation of chiefs. So that's where we started, and that's all I can say. We are still moving forward, moving quietly, and hopefully quickly, stealthily.
Okay.
So there it is from me, everybody. Nice to meet you all. Tēnā koutou. Greetings.
Tēnā Whakaminenga. Okay, so you're a part of that group. I'm actually in that Facebook group, so I've been trying to keep track of it. It sounds like it's really coming up now. So Colin, let's go back. Let's just do a little bit. So now you know a little bit about the Kiwis there, the New Zealanders. How about your background?
Okay, so my background is I come from the Cree and the Métis Nation. The Métis are a mixed blood between white settlers and Native Americans. They've been around since the 1600s. I have a relation to Louis Riel. He's a man who waged war on the Canadian government in the 1800s with 300 men. And I'm also great-grandson of Jean-Baptiste Callio, and this is Chief of the Michelle Band. That is a Cree band. So I can get both status, if you can understand that. I can get a Métis status, or I can get my full blood status. And yeah, we have so many complications here in Canada with our tribal people. You know, all the infighting between the different tribes, let alone the government. We have the utmost poverty taken over our tribal people. Addiction has taken over. We have alcohol problems, meth, fentanyl, you name it. We're losing an entire generation right now. And not to mention, we have a tyrannical government who is basically trying to genocide our entire country at the same time. So it's making it so much more complicated. But our tribal people are the last ones standing between, the de facto corporation of Canada They're just they're an illegitimate corporation over our lands, and the tribal people are the last ones standing in their way, so they can get all of our precious resources. So they're trying to bring in all kinds of nonsense, like there's something called UNDRIP. This is the United Nations declarations of Indigenous peoples, trying to protect us like we need protection in Canada. That's why we drew the treaties to protect our ancestors and the future generations long ago. So as long as those treaties, as the wind blows, we say, and the fire burns, those treaties will always be here. So they're always trying to change the wording around, and steal our land. And right now they're doing a big payout with, it's called cows and plows. And this is something where they're selling off our harvesting lands, and so every one of the members will get like a $50,000 buyout. And it sounds great at the time, but you're selling out your future generations is what you're doing. So it's a very complicated matter. There's so many tribes here in Canada. A lot of them are all fighting with one another. I'm part Métis, so I'm stuck in the middle between being part Native and part white. So there's a lot of complications that come with that. But I just try to be a bridge maker, and build bridges where we can. We have a medicine wheel. This represents all four corners of the world, which means we are all equal under the same creator. So it doesn't matter who you are, white, black, Native American, we're all equal, and we're all on the same mission and journey here in this life. So hi. And that's how you say thank you. Hi.
Okay, I thought that was well. Actually, it's the same way that you agree with somebody in Japanese as well. Hi. That's interesting. Okay, so for our guests, thank you for that. For our guests, I do have a video explaining UNDRIP, and after that video, we'll also go on to the New Zealand and Australian relationships and how it's affecting there. So I'll just load that up. And we'll just quickly, it's a very short video. It's only about a minute and a half long. Oh, it's just under 2 minutes long. I'll just share that screen. There you are. Yep, share that. Get that loaded up. And press play, add it to the stage, and press play. Hopefully, it's going to work fine.
Have you heard of the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples? This is a document that sets global standards to uphold the human rights of Indigenous peoples, also known as a human rights instrument. For decades, Indigenous leaders from Canada and around the world had advocated for and helped draft a declaration to promote and protect the rights of Indigenous peoples. In 2007, the United Nations adopted the Declaration. This declaration sets out a broad range of human rights. For example, it affirms such rights as the right of all Indigenous peoples to self-determination and self-government, to decide what is best for their communities and to participate in decisions that affect them, the right to have their treaties and agreements honored and respected, the right to use and teach their languages and histories and to practice their cultural traditions and customs, the right to access social and health services without discrimination and to improve their economic and social well-being, the right to be free from any kind of discrimination and to live in peace and security as distinct peoples. In Canada, the Declaration is a roadmap for the shared journey of reconciliation, one that respects the human rights of Indigenous peoples. To learn more about the Declaration and how Canada is working with Indigenous peoples to implement it, visit canada.ca/declaration.
Yeah, it sounds like wishful thinking.
Yes, indeed. That was the Canadian one. So that's the United Nations Declaration So the topic today is the weaponization of that movement. So let's go to we'll go back to, because that was based in Canada. We'll do the New Zealand one in just a moment. Let's go back to Canada. How is it being used to a disadvantage to Indigenous peoples, Colin Big Bear?
Well, they're making it sound like they're the people who don't understand how dangerous UNDRIP is. They're making them kind of throw it in your face, like we're protected under the United Nations, anytime somebody brings up something they don't like. So they feel like some big, honor that they're protected under the United Nations. Well, I'm gonna say this as straight as I can say it, okay? The United Nations is a global elite organization. These guys are evil. They have accounted for in the tens of thousands of rapes, child trafficking all through Africa. This is a nasty establishment. This is a global establishment with a global agenda, and they try to make it look all pretty. Like to watch that video, it looks really nice, but then you go to the fine print, and at the end of the day, it's just a land grab is all it is. And they will try to, why do we need the United Nations to step into Canada to protect our Indigenous people, which we were never even called Indigenous people. We were actually called the Indians under the Indian Act, which we're still protected under the Indian Act. So they're just changing the wordings around, making it sound all nice and rosy, but it's just a land grab is all it is.
Yeah.
Because this is a global agenda. They're trying to create a global agenda and rule the entire earth. And they got to kick those native people out of the way first, because those are the people who have the true rights to those lands, right? You only win land by complete genocide or by treaty, and that's it.
100%.
So,
yeah.
How does it work? For example, they prop up an elite class of Indigenous peoples that work directly with the United Nations. They guide them through the tunnel, the funnel, the cash funnel, the land funnel. They guide them through, and they say, okay, this is what you'll get. You'll be enriched as Indigenous peoples for your particular elite class. Follow this system. You've got to give us a certain amount of powers. You have to cooperate with us, and with that, we'll work with your government to make sure that you're being listened to, and you'll get this. However, all the Indigenous peoples below them at a different class, at the working class level, are the ones who are the actual victims who don't get anything back. Is that how it works?
Yeah, basically exactly how it works. They just right now they're just in the process of they're basically tokenizing our native people here in Canada. They're parading them around. They're acting like they care about what happened to them in the past. They're doing these beautiful land acknowledgements to act like they actually care about the natives that lived here. They're parading them around on, doing modeling shoots, like a Hollywood style modeling shoot. You know what I mean? They're creating all these funds for them and grants to make it sound like they actually care about, our people rising up and thriving, and they're basically buying them out is what they're doing. They're buying them out, and they're smoke screening them for a much bigger plan, and that's just to steal their land and resources, because they're, like I said before, they're the ones in the middle in the middle of it all. So you got to get rid of them.
And Taylor, is that the way that it's playing out in New Zealand as well at the moment?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, mate. I can.
Okay. Yeah, that's exactly how it's playing out. Dangle the carrots in front of some leaders around New Zealand, and they just sell out. There's a word called kupapa, and that means sell out. There's a lot of that going on with some leaders in different tribes, and they'll do deals with the government, that sort of thing, and just reap the rewards for themselves, but no mind the little fish that, so to speak. But that's exactly what's happening in that, and we understand this is a global agenda. That's why we can understand where Colin's coming from. We all know now that they have these agendas, and another one in place in New Zealand is the agendas 20 and 21 and 30, and that's pretty much taking the land, getting us through our water, getting us through our 1080. They 1080 our bushes for over the last 60 years there, so we can run out our resources in the forests and drops in the waterways and that, and then fish eat it, and then pigs and deer all dying and that sort of thing. They hitting us in the ways of chemtrails and that, and processed foods, and all these avenues here for a big plan to depopulate the earth and just have power and control for themselves. And but we're all onto that, and so we're making a plan here in New Zealand there. And the hardest thing is to do is to wake up your own people, and wake up people who just won't even come into it to have a look for their next generations, and that's why we do it. We all do it for our next generation. So when we're gone, there the way will be a little bit easier there, or even to teach them what's happening under the covers. But that's exactly what's happening over this way.
Okay, so what? Okay, let's talk about Te Arawa Haumaru. Sorry, I got Te Arawa Haumaru. How are they getting involved in this? What are their actions? We touched on it a little bit the other day, but this particular topic about the weaponization, we did know that we do know that the goal is to end this kind of weaponization and to take the power out of the small elite. But what ways can it be achieved? Let's ask Whitney.
Haumaru, tēnā koe o kōrero. The Haumaru is kind of similar, I guess, to a home guard. Haumaru is as in safety. So what we are trying to do is set up quietly and quickly our own parliament as a sovereign. So what happened with the treaty in New Zealand? What happened in 1852? Well, there was a treaty that was signed in 1835. That is the foundational document of New Zealand. They refused to recognize this. That is the government I'm talking about. And so in 1852, they repealed the Constitution. And they repealed the 1852 Constitution in 1986 and created the Constitution Act, which is just an act. And we had one of the brothers met with the ex-Prime Minister of Labour, Chris Hipkins, last week, called him out. And Chris Hipkins did a bit of a backpedal when he was asked, is there a constitution? No. We kind of have an informal constitution made up of what? Made up of the treaty, the Constitution Act, and the Electoral Party Act, and a couple more. So he referred to. In actual fact, he was referring to the treaty. The treaty is the only foundational document of New Zealand. That's the problem. And so to get rid of that, they wanted to create a co-governance whereby they are pretending that Māori will have co-governance, but they won't. They're just trying to kill the treaty, the foundational document which they refuse to recognize. So in doing so, they're wanting to drown the whakaputanga, the original foundational document, and create another constitution. Illegally what they're doing, we all know that. So Māori, many of our people still haven't woken up. Many of them took the jab. So they're sucked in, and a whole lot of our Pākehā people too. I was talking to the neighbours the other day, and they were telling me they had COVID. They've had COVID for the last week. They've taken 4 jabs. Sad for them, because A lot of our people, as well as the older people in all races, they watch TV, and TV, as we know, the media propaganda sucks a lot of people in. So the Haumaru is part of the parliament that we seek to start on our own. So back to that treaty. The treaty was something that allowed the newcomers to this land to go on, govern yourselves and keep yourselves out of trouble and out of our hair, because you're causing too much trouble in New Zealand and Aotearoa. So they went off, and over the years from 1835, they actually brought in another treaty in 1840, which was to nullify the first treaty. But of course, Queen Victoria didn't sign that treaty, so that's a nullity. That means they must go back to 1835, the original document, the original treaty, which is said to be the most powerful treaty throughout the world. Dr. Raina Fulmick came here. He also supports and backs that treaty. Unfortunately, for many years, we've had fragmentation among the northern tribes. They were the ones that set up this treaty with the original monarchy, not the crown. The crown is totally different. So the government is an illegal corporation, as we know, and they are acting or assuming authority over us. Those that are woke among us are trying to stop it. And our way of stopping it is to set up our own parliament, our own mayoralty, our own police state, our own jurisdiction, and our own military state, so that just quietly going around our business quickly. We know that we need to rise at one time and quickly, only because there will be targets among our people. There are no leaders. There are many people doing the same thing. We don't target anyone as a leader. We have many leaders. And as you guys are Indigenous people, you would also know that you do things for your children, your future generation, your mokopuna, grandchildren. So basically that's where we are. We're at the beginning. We're right at the very beginning. We have lawyers that are working on it that have been in the system themselves, but always as a, what do you call it, resisting so-called radicals, but very powerful in the way they're able to mobilize our people. And the thing with our people is that we can mobilize, but this document, this COVID and all this shit that's happened over these past 4 years, have kind of, our people have started to wake up now. But over these last 2-3 years, they were against us. Those of us who refused the vaccine. We're disallowed upon our own villages to participate in normal function. Funerals is the most important funeral, important ritual custom of our people. Disallowed from our own marae, our own villages. But now that's all past. We're back in there. We're hopefully working with everybody to, we believe as a united, we stand. Ka kotahi te hoa te waka means let's all row that canoe together so that our canoe can make it to shore. Amongst all the difficulties out there on the ocean, we need to make land. That's where we're at now. We're just at the beginning stages, and we're looking at building up our Haumaru, number one. We have our leaders that are directing, but we also need our police state in our jurisdiction, which is what we call pākoti. Pākoti is just we are our own judge, and we don't have executioners. We have things in place to help those people to reintegrate into the society. That's how we are as a people. Yes, there are punishment terms, not as harsh as we see in the prison state. So I think I've said most of what yeah, so I'll leave it there. Did you all hear me?
Except you can't hear me because I'm muted.
Did you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you okay.
Thank you for that.
It's raining here.
I'm
Sorry, I'm on this earphone thing, and sometimes it slips behind, then I've got no microphone near my mouth, so I hope you heard what I said. Hate to repeat that, I can't remember.
Oh, it's
Now I can
much
hear you a
nicer
lot
when you
better
have it.
now.
Yeah, much
Sorry
nicer.
about
But
that.
we did hear you. We did
We
hear
could hear you, just it was very light.
Yeah,
Okay.
no problem. Colin, what's the situation in Canada when it comes to you guys are French, aren't you? I mean, what kind of brush did you have with the British when Canada
Say
was
that one.
formed? Was it French formed or was it British formed?
Well, there is a part of Canada that was French formed, and that's Quebec, but mainly it was British. Yeah, it was mainly British. The Métis, like my people, the Métis are the ones who actually mixed with the French. So the Métis are Cree, French, Ojibwe, and then there was some Scottish blood in there even. But there is a province that is predominantly French in Canada, and that is Quebec. And then the rest would be more British, and then like the East Coast is very, Irish influenced, believe it or not. So yeah, a lot came over from Ireland, from Newfoundland and New Brunswick and all over there. So Acadian French also, but the side of Canada that I live on is very British. I live in British Columbia, so it kind of speaks for itself. But I seen a question pop up earlier there on the screen, and it was talking about the chiefs and councils. Yeah, like basically every chief in Canada has been bought off by the corporation. See, we have this thing called the Indian Act, and it's a very, very broken system, because how it works is the chiefs and councils who get any kind of funding don't have to answer to anybody lower than them, but they have to answer up, which is like Ottawa, right? The people giving them the funding. So it's kind of they dangle the carrot, and by kind of just by the way of it's designed, they become corrupt no matter what, because you want to look after your family and whatnot. So what they need to do is abolish the Indian Act completely. And our native people need to reclaim our sovereign territory, and we need to be doing our own business. We have to be creating sufficiency where we don't rely on the government whatsoever, because we have enough resources on our land to sustain us, and we can control it for the next 7 generations. So we say we don't need the government anymore. We could start our own banking systems. We could back ourselves with gold and silver resources that we have, and just say, you know what, we don't need you anymore. We don't want to work with a fraudulent government that doesn't even deserve to be here.
Yeah, Colin, tell us about how long Trudeau has been promising fresh drinking water at the reservations here.
That was one of the things that he promised getting into power. I think it's been 7, 8 years now. Yeah, the natives are going to get clean drinking water. Like, if you look right here, I'm standing at one of the most beautiful lakes in Canada. I could go drink out of that water, okay? But our native people don't even have clean drinking water. How does that work, eh?
Yep.
So it's a very broken country. You basically have it's like having 2 separate countries inside the same country. So you have a first world nation where one side of the country is living very, very nicely, very beautifully, and then the other side of the country is in like a third world setting. Their infrastructure is falling apart. It's basically what they want to do with the whole world and become socialist, right? Communism, right? And that's exactly what the world is going to turn into if we continue to let this happen. All of Canada is going to turn into one big Indian reserve, and they're not pretty. You go to a native reserve, their infrastructures are falling apart. You'll walk into a house, there'll be 10 people, overdosing on the ground. Like, this is the state we are in. Like, this is a state of emergency, and nobody's talking about it. We lost 11 children one night on the Blood Tribe Indian Reserve out by Lethbridge, Alberta. Not a word. Nobody spoke about it. Like, we're literally losing an entire generation right now to a genocide by our government. And they're allowing these drugs to flow in too. Not to mention, that's something a lot of people don't talk about. The government's just allowing all this fentanyl, all this meth to just flow right in the country. You never see anything about any big drug bust or anything, so people are just lining everyone's pockets. That's all that's going on here. Corruption at the highest, so it's up to us to be the leaders, and we're gonna have to make the final stand, and we're gonna have to stand together as one world united and say no.
Tato, what's
No!
the meth situation? What's the meth situation in New Zealand? Is it out of control? Because I know it's actually an old problem. For Canada, I think it's from what I've seen on the news, it's actually become a new problem. But from what I recall, it's been an old problem in New Zealand. What do you think, Tato?
It's it has been a problem. It's wrecking lives, wrecking households in it. A lot of gangs are in with it in it. Although there's a lot of gangs that are trying to clean themselves up in it and not, their members aren't allowed to do any drugs and that sort of thing in it. But it's wreaking havoc here across the plains of New Zealand and that. There's that, in a lot of not so wealthy places there's a lot of vape shops and alcohol places in it, just just handing it to the people in it, and to the poorer places, it's sort of like you'll see every little suburb has got a alcohol store in it. But that, once you got alcohol in there, you sort of start losing your way in the heat in it, and gets addictive in it, sort of thing. But it's and that's part of our job there as rangatira, as leaders and chiefs in that, to get our people back on the straight and narrow, live off the land, go hunting and fishing, and that. We've got a lot of people around our area sort of do those things. It's sort of, we're not. I don't think we're as hard as in Canada there with I think we got more grips of our people in that. But with that said, there's a lot of people who hang around in the cities, and then they just get led astray, hang around with the bad bad crowd, and that's their life, sort of goes into that sort of thing. And that, but as for us in the rural area and that, we try and be super role models for our next generation, and that, and try and keep them away from these things. And that, that's the only way we can win there, and to help them, to move forward and do some good things. And one of the most things I tell the young generation, or the rangatahi of today, is to always help people. If you, no matter what, there's always someone that's worse or off than what you are, and help people. That's the main thing.
100%. Love it. Love it. Love it. That's exactly what we do here in Canada.
Yeah.
Canadians helping Canadians, New Zealanders, Kiwis helping Kiwis. That's Kiwis helping Canadians, and Canucks helping Kiwis. That's what we've got. Like, oh man, it's gonna be a long freaking battle. It's gonna be a long freaking battle.
Can I jump in and add here to what Watson has just said? What I'm just going to add here is that I'm actually on the way home from Tauranga. I'm going to Rotorua, so I might drop out at some stage, but I'll come back in when I've got coverage. Yeah, so we've had lots of problems with meth, and yes, many of the gangs, they are the older ones that were in the gangs as young men, and now have families, and they're, I think, wanting a better life for their children. So they're waking up a little bit as to, let's try and put them on the straight and narrow. Aside from that, there are, what else? We got these 15-minute cities that are being trialed. Hamilton, they started building things, and down in Christchurch, the same thing. Rotorua, we're
Here in
starting to see
Canada,
small container houses. Can you hear me okay?
yeah, we can
Oh
hear you
yeah.
okay. 100%.
Yeah, okay, so they are trialing those 15-minute cities. I do, we do have a problem amongst our children, our young ones taking their lives. We have a high suicide rate,
Yeah.
and
That's
I
right.
think that a lot of that is due to too much social media and
Yep.
unrealistic images that they're trying to live up to,
Right.
kids.
Right.
So something we have to go online. I think I might get online at some stage to talk to them about it
Yes.
because we don't get that sort of teaching. At school, we're taught this, that, and that, but there's nothing about relationships. A lot of these are relationship breakups. And all devastation, can't live without you, and then next minute they've gone and taken their lives. So it needs to be education for our young ones around that. So that's an internal problem we're facing right now with our young. And if our culture is as strong as it should be now, Watson, that we should
Right.
be really able to, through our culture, hold our kids from going and damaging themselves like that. But of course, social
Right.
media has a real stronghold on those ones, our kids. And just teaching them that who you were basically before you met anybody else. You just remember your own power as a single person. Come back to that if you have any problems.
Have
And
you heard about
the teaching,
have you heard about the
pardon,
MAID program here in Canada?
the Métis.
MAID, medical assistance in dying.
Oh yeah.
I have, yes,
Medical
yep.
assisted
Yeah.
suicide.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Oh, they're promoting it like crazy. Anyone who has
really,
like any kind of like mental illness, or they can't get up the stairs, and they're like, or they're a veteran and their PTSD is too much to handle. Yeah, the
yep,
government here is offering them, and it's the documentary about medical assistance in dying. It's like being waterboarded to death. It can take like up to 3 days for them to die, but they're frozen because they're given a paralysis, and then they harvest the
yep.
organ. So yeah, Canada is broken.
Well,
Wow.
yeah, but all of those elimination ideologies. Yeah, we know that's that what do you call it, euphemism, or what is not euphemism? What do you call it?
Euthanasia.
Aiding people
Yeah,
to
euthanasia.
assisting to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, euthanasia.
Yeah,
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Passing laws like that, passing the laws around abortions and harvesting children, even
yeah,
Like today.
up to 2 years after birth. If that was a failed abortion, they will continue to care for that child until it's time to ritualistically harvest it. I think through their satanic practices.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah. So we're all on the same wavelength. It's good to hear that. It's hard to have people to talk to around here.
Yeah.
We do have our own little pockets. When it starts going over their head and you see their eyes starting to go cross-eyed, oh, it's time to stop. You're trying to,
Right.
you're trying to, you're trying to educate them, but mate, oh, geez. Anyway, so the last one I want to say is that the treaty itself, the Wakaputanga, and even the second treaty was really great, but I think Wakaputanga people have to realise that if you're New Zealander or if you're any other race, it didn't matter that you came under the protection of this document. That Maori would take you under your wing, under their wing, under their wing, and protect you and give you the same privileges as was offered by the monarchy
Hey,
when it was given. We were given rights and privileges of the British subjects. Then we, in that Maori document, offered the same to anybody who came to these shores that was pursuing commercial activities. So living here amongst us, we believe that we're becoming one. We've intermarried. If you want to have us fight each other, you can't fight white and brown against each other because basically the brown people won't leave the white people that are their families, and you cannot
yeah,
break that cord. And the same with the white people that are part of the brown people. We don't look at it like that. You're my family. You're white, you got blue eyes, blonde hair, you got my blood, you're family. So we don't move from that standpoint. As a family, we think still family are people very strong in that. And so one thing, number one is believe we have two great things as an indigenous people. Family is number one, and number two, we always stood up for our rights. We fought the enemy, no matter how formidable or how big the enemy was. We gave our lives towards that, and you see that happening in Palestine. You've seen that happen in the Arab states. They give their lives, but it was like that to protect your children. It still is like that now if you needed to. But hopefully we can have a peaceful solution. And to me, it still astounds me that these people that are causing all these deaths on their murderous genocide, mass genocide rampage. Oh man, I'm astounded that they're still there. They're still around. So let's hope the white hats are true and that it is happening and that things are happening in that sense that we might see an end to it. But just in case we don't, we are setting ourselves on fire here to prepare.
Yes.
And also the gardens, the hunting, the fishing, we're trying to take all that away from us. As the brother over there, the data says the 1080 to destroy the food. They did also destroy 10,000 tar, and this was the animal tar, the big goat down in South Island. They destroyed that cold dose, and that was meat that could have been sold, gone overseas, or food sources. And destroying the farmers who, he who controls the food controls the world. So we're in the same predicament as everywhere else. We know it's a rollout right around. I'll leave it here. I know it's been a long conversation, but just wanted to get some more in before I drop out. Kia ora, everybody. Tēnā koutou.
Kia ora. Kia ora. I just want to interject before anyone starts. I just want to interject. I've got to drop out myself. I do have an editing lesson. I'm going to teach a student if you're still here in 30 minutes or so, I'll drop back in again. If not, you're in the capable hands of Rosie. It's her channel anyway today. I just want to address one comment. Betty, bro, I let your post in as important topic. Liz fundraiser into. I don't know what you mean. If you've got me on Facebook, you can just send me a message on Facebook. I guess I'm assuming you're talking about one of the groups. I don't always get to all the posts on time. I have over 20 groups that I administer. So if I accidentally miss a post, then you'll just have to accept it, I'm afraid. So, but for the moment, in case I don't come back, guys, thank you for joining us today. I've got to do this editing class, and we'll see you. We'll see you in the next episode,
Thanks,
everybody.
Jason.
All right,
Thanks,
brother.
Jason.
Sure.
Hi.
Ka kite anō.
Ka kite rā. Kia ora.
Mate what?
I can't end it. I have to leave. I better not end it.
Yeah, no, you can go, Jason. I'll end the live stream.
Feel bad.
Betty Bro 369. So does the Treaty of Waitangi and Pakaputanga both protect all indigenous worldwide, yet no one overseas uses them?
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
I
right.
think
That's strong, that document.
Like, if you got a treaty in place in your country, which I think Colin was saying that there's a treaty there. There's a treaty here in New Zealand, and we got a couple. But our thing is that they're not honouring the treaty from our ancestors signed them over many chiefs, and then back in that time signed them, and then the governments of today are not honouring that by they're supposed to take care of their own affairs. Article 2 on our treaty is they're supposed to leave us alone to our affairs, the tangata whenua, the people of the land, and we were already doing good things before everyone come along. Be the same with Colin and that. There'll be a treaty in place there. We're fortunate not to be in reservations. We fought so much not to be in reservations and that sort of thing. And we sort of might have a little bit of the upper hand but the elephant in the room is still there, poking us, ailing us, and that all around the world, all indigenous cultures and that. And yeah, well, I got 3 daughters at home there, and you know, my wife, she's Māori, she's got English and Irish in her, and that's the same with our kids. Myself, I've got a bit of Tongan in me and all that sort of thing in that, but yeah, we all love all cultures and nationality, and we have to come together to unite there, to you know, this is a worldwide thing that's happening.
100%. Yes.
Absolutely. And what I really tell people when they ask me, Colin, Big Bear, what do we do? I tell them, lead by example, clean up your own house, clean up your own backyard, start healing your own heart, right? Because when you do this will ripple effect around in your areas, right? And if we're all doing this in our own communities and we're all starting to build these new systems, we're all starting to create new ways of making money and wealth, we're all any way to get away from the government's reach. By design, we will win if we all do these things, right? And it's going to be a long road ahead, and a lot of people do not know what to do, but that's why we have to relearn and come back to who we used to be, especially in our tribal settings, right?
Yes.
And that's going to be, I think that's going to be the winning key down the road, is just going our own way, and saying sorry, but we don't walk with these devil worshippers and these satanic people anymore, and we're going our own direction, and that's it.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry.
I love it how we all on the same wavelength. We all know what's happening. It's good.
Yeah, that's right. And you got to start creating everything that a functioning society needs. You need, a banking system, which you can very much create. You need a healthcare system. We have natural plant medicine all over this world, and we can trade. We could trade plant medicine from Canada to New Zealand if we wanted to. And we just have to start opening the doors to these new opportunities of growing abundance in our lives, so we can be successful and come out on top of this. Yeah.
Love it.
So, yeah.
Hey, Tara, I can't show that flag flying.
Oh yeah. I'll just.
Yeah, it's raining here, but I'll do my best.
Hey, Rosie, I was could you explain to Whitney how much days have you guys been protesting there now?
Oh, look, it's flying.
Oh yeah, Whitney.
They've been there. They've been there for like 69 days or something.
78 days.
For 78 days.
Yep.
78 days protesting.
Wow.
All the way in Canada.
Man, I'll tell you what, we were in the Wellington protest day, and we shouldn't call it a protest because of the words they use that are captured. We should be saying contest. Pro means we're not actually testing anything.
Oh, the honking.
But,
you hear that? Honk, honk, honk. Yeah, the truckies still love us. But yeah, we're flying the United Tribes flag here because, yeah, my friend Jeff, he sent it to me. So, oh, we love you in New Zealand. We love you so much. Like, for real.
Love you guys too. We really love what you fellas are doing and standing up against this, government fraud.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's cool.
It's exhausting, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice to take a trip one day to New Zealand, actually.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on my bucket list. Oh, bucket cool.
Come. Colin,
tell me more about this global warming.
Absolutely.
In June.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So did you guys have a large uprising in New Zealand as well? Like we had the Freedom Convoy in Ottawa. Did you guys have like a large uprising in New Zealand?
Yes.
They did.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a convoy, trucking convoy.
Days later. That's how I know Jason. Like I joined the New Zealand Freedom Convoy. I followed you guys all the way to Wellington. I was cheering.
Yeah.
You know, Jacinda Ardern with their mandates. Nobody, like, there was one case of COVID in New Zealand, and yet both islands were locked down. There are women from New Zealand who gave birth in other countries who weren't even allowed back because, yeah, Jacinda can go fuck herself.
Crazy.
Yeah, they
It was
released
all a fuss, all bullshit.
same as the Ottawa protest, and the cops came in more than one. And I watched it all live, and they know who you are, Colin Big Bear, because I was like, I was sharing all your posts from Ottawa to New Zealand during the trucker
I drove 4,000 kilometers all the way from where I lived to in minus 30 all the way out to Ottawa. And then at the end, when the special forces came in and arrested everybody, there wasn't many influencers left. They were all terrified that the government was going to arrest them, freeze their bank accounts, take their vehicles. Not me. I went to a farmer's field. It was 200 acres, and I set up a base camp there with a bunch of good Canadian men and women, and then we held that land there for about almost 2 weeks, and then they started to threaten the farmer. Of course, they were going to give him $100,000 fines and whatnot. But it was quite an adventure.
Yeah, they had helicopters, but no, Colin, I will send you Clark Ellery. He has like really good footage of the New Zealand convoy, the Freedom Village, because like for me, I still fly the New Zealand flag. I fly both of them, the New Zealand and the United Tribes flag, because you guys had our back. In like when you guys went to Wellington, you guys, and the fact that like our parliament is on Wellington Street and your parliament is in Wellington, like I don't know, for me it's a coming together. And that we're not so alone. We have to know we're not alone, because Canada is a big country. Everyone's spaced out. It's really hard to organize protests. It's really hard to get people together because everyone's hurting. And everyone's like 100 kilometers north of the U.S. border, and because that's where it's warm. But I don't know why we're paying a fucking carbon tax when we have more trees than Mexico and U.S. combined, and they're not paying carbon tax. Like,
well, it's just another way to make you go down.
Trudeau has got to go. Trudeau is a fuckhead, and nobody likes him. And yeah, it's the biggest money laundering scheme in history. So anyway, they're collecting so much money and then they're sending it overseas to like help the Philippines fight climate change. Like, go fuck yourself, fucking Trudeau. Go fuck yourself. Yeah, I can say that. Yeah. Nobody likes Trudeau. Except
sorry, there's a loud train that went by there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're all murdering motherfuckers. All murdering bastards out there.
Yeah, we're going to get through this together, you guys. We're going to get through this
absolutely.
Together.
Yeah, I think it's really amazing, Rosie, how you created this beautiful connection with New Zealand. And this is actually the second time I've been on her show. And there was some New Zealanders on last time. So I think this is a beautiful thing to unite the world and let people see other nations talking together about the same topics. And we all have the same problem. We're all having the same problem. So now we have to come up with solutions. We know this for a long time. We have to create solutions going forward, and if we can share those solutions with our brothers and sisters in New Zealand, doesn't matter if you're in Africa, Europe, wherever, we got to start creating the networks. This is a global problem, so we take care of this globally, using our global brothers and sisters who are awake. We walk this road together.
Nice one, bro.
100%.
That's us.
Yeah.
Look, I want to say something too. just about that flag that you're flying, the Union Jack, the New Zealand flag. That's not the actual flag. You can, you have our permission to put that in the rubbish or just use it as toilet paper. The actual, the actual flag is the kara flag, the white one with the cross. And the reason why they used the Union Jack was the corporation was to try and sink the kara. They're trying to get rid of the kara because that's that. No, I'm only joking. I'm only joking. But anyway, the thing behind that flag, one of our chiefs in the northern tribes, his name was Honeheke. He cut the flagpole down 3 times in protest or in contest against the rollout of that flag, which was trying to subdue and to hide and remove the actual constitutional flag, the Whakaputanga. Now, when the Queen arrived here on her big Queen Elizabeth boat in 1956, she flew not the Union Jack, she flew the kara flag to recognize the actual sovereigns of the country. She had to, and she the harbour flying the kara. So there's a big history behind that flag. And look, I was new to it about 4 years ago, and I learned from the Northern Brothers this flag and what it really means. So that is the flag of all the people of New Zealand, gifted by King William IV, to sail in his waters. He owned about 50% of the world at the time we were sailing around a ship, around the sea. As the entrepreneurs of our people were, we were selling produce to America, Australia, and even Napoleon. He actually had ropes on his ships made by New Zealand Māori from the flax. They were trading with the overseas people, such as the Napoleon Bonaparte. I think our people were very entrepreneurial. And when they came into the system that was brought to our lands, didn't take them long before they were flourishing on the land. They had their own flour mills, orchards.
Well, the truth is, I finally became familiar with
They were
that New
producing
Zealand
enough
flag.
food and
The blue and red.
yeah,
Is that the Maori flag? Is that what I need to understand from Canada? Because I've seen the New Zealand flag, I've seen the United Tribes flag being flown at
that's the
Wellington,
one.
but the really beautiful
Yeah.
black
Well,
and red flowy one, is that the Maori flag?
no, the Maori flag is the white one that you have there. I just saw you flying it. The white one with the red and blue cross, the red cross, the blue.
Yeah.
And that's the one the Māori chiefs, the chiefs of the land, the sovereigns chose that. And King William supported and passed that, I guess, as one of his bills, and recognised that flag, along with the P&O flag, which is still in existence today. They were given the mana about the same time, 1830, 1831, 1832. The talks began 31, 32, 33, 34, and then draft was, I think, look, I'm not an expert, but I know 1835 to 28th of October. That's when they signed they signed it, the document, and then
The United
to
Tribes.
commemorate that, the Maori battalion was called the 28th Maori Battalion to commemorate the 28th day of October. Was it the 20th of October? Yes, it was signed 1835. So it's a big long history in the flag, and also in the trail that we left all the way till today. So now we're back on that trail again to reclaim our sovereignty. And we've got to believe in it. That's the thing, we must stand up and believe in it. There's a lot of people don't believe in it. You have to have that inner strength and then go forward from there.
Right. Plant those
Yep.
seeds everywhere you go.
Yeah, yep, that's me.
All right. So should we reschedule another chat? Because this is really great. You guys have a lot to talk about, and I'm all for it. Or should I share your Facebook profiles? How do you feel?
Yeah, and I could actually bring on some elders who really know the ins and outs of our culture as well. Like, I could bring on some pretty well-known elders who can really get into the depths of a lot of the issues within our native culture here, and and help educate as well. So, and they always get riled up anyways, so it's fun.
How do you feel, Tiara? Watini?
Yeah,
How do you feel?
Can we?
Yeah.
Should we have a part 3 or something another time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be awesome. Keep the connections going.
100%.
Yeah. You've got a YouTube, Rosie, a YouTube page. Is it under Rosie Convoy? Okay.
Yep.
We'll start following
Convoy
you.
on YouTube.
Okay. And what about you, Brother Colin? Have you got
Colin Big Bear on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, Colin Big Bear on Facebook is super easy to find me, or the Big Bear Movement on TikTok.
Okay. Okay. Hey, thanks
Yeah,
for
we
having
need
us
to
here,
come
guys.
together more.
Yeah.
100%. Sorry.
So, Rose, did you tape this and is it going to Facebook?
This live stream is going through YouTube, and then you can
YouTube.
share it
Ooh,
out from there.
I don't know if I want to be on there. Not yet because
Really?
yeah. I'm already gotten a bad name as being a Mad Hatter and a nutter. So I kind of still want to disturb the. Hey,
don't worry.
I think
It's all on
that
me.
makes all of us.
Yeah, it's my YouTube channel. It's my YouTube channel. Don't worry at all. No, yeah, I'm not monetized, so my YouTube channel
No,
is
it's not.
safe.
That's not what worries me. It's worried about my people and what they might think at this time. Not ready for it. A lot of them not ready for it.
Well,
Yeah.
my channel is small. I've got like less than 800 subscribers, but it's
Hey,
important
Watson,
to
you
me,
reckon
and it's important
if
to Jason, and it's important for all of us to like come together. So,
what do you think, Brother Watson?
I think Jason's put the first part in Te Arawa Haumaru, but yeah, I don't know.
Hey,
Obviously,
if they see us on there, bam, splash,
just-
gone across Māoridom.
Yeah, it's a live broadcast, so it's recorded live and it stays on YouTube.
but
Oh, okay, dude.
I can delete it. I can
No,
delete it
no.
if you guys want.
No, it's okay. No,
But
we have
at
to
the
do
same
it for
time, we
others.
haven't really talked about like any super touchy subjects. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not monetized, so we're not worried about like getting YouTube strikes or
Well,
like.
I don't want it to go on. Why? Because we're moving quietly. Right now, we just let them know what our plans are, so we shouldn't really be giving out too much.
Okay.
We already talked about what we're doing.
I'll leave it up to
Maybe
your
next
discretion.
time. Maybe the next one.
Delete it.
Yeah, I think maybe the next one where we can hold back a little bit on what we don't want to everybody to know. But if it's gone live to yours, then okay. But at the end of the day, we're telling our families, we're allowing them all in, but we're also allowing the enemy in to know what our moves are.
Yeah, it's true. But you know what? We had Trudeau's motorcade drive by us a couple of days ago. And then we had a couple of days of trolls, but tonight there are no trolls.
I'm pretty sure my phone's been tapped ever since I went to Ottawa. So every once in a while, I tell them to fuck off and do their jobs. and arrest the real criminals, because we're on the right path. We're doing the right things, and we have nothing to hide when we're doing the right things.
Yeah. And if you're using Facebook or any form of social media to communicate, it's game over anyway. They got that tapped big time. That's how they jam.
Yep, that's right.
They jam up your communications, Zoom meetings, live streams. They just put a jammer in there just so it's more difficult to get communication out to people. Yeah. So if you're on an electrical device, I'm sure.
It's over.
Yeah.
So
I don't think
Jason,
there is any really encrypted device out there. Even Signal turned out that Signal was actually Signal turned out to be like was either a CIA or FBI backed operation. And they came out just late last year. They came out and said that because they can't make any money from it, they've given up their funding for Signal, so Telegram, all that kind of stuff. The mate of mine, a Canadian mate of mine living in Japan, who's taking on the cabal. When he wants to talk privately to somebody, he tells everybody to put their phones down, take the batteries out, and then they go down, sit by the river, and have a conversation.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's exactly.
That's how they do it.
Well,
How many of us on here? 4 of us.
5.
yeah, I
Plus
fell out
yourself.
there for a minute.
And you-
There's 2 big bears.
Where are you from, bro? Are you from New Zealand? You're New Zealander.
Jason's in Asia. He's from New Zealand.
Oh,
there you
in
go.
Asia.
Oh wait, I deleted the wrong one. Hang on. Colin, there he is.
I was gonna say earlier about it, when you were mentioning the educating the people. I was gonna say, I grew up in Mangere, and this was how we were educated. I'm just gonna share this. This is what woke a lot of us young people up watching this movie, which is a very realistic interpretation of the sort of neighborhoods that we grew up in. Let me see if I can just whip that up there. And if Canadians want to watch this, what happened to it? Okay,
All right.
add to a stage. There you go. It's a movie. It may seem like a stereotype, but if you grew up in Mangere or Otara, then you can really. The movie's called Once Warriors, and this is at a time when in the early '90s, late '80s, early '90s, when things were going off track, and Ian Mune made this movie, and it really woke a lot of people up, and it actually took Maori and took the neighborhoods onto a really positive step. So we got to sort of get back to that situation now. It's kind of gone off the rockers where we've got these elitists, these elite groups of Indigenous who are out there grabbing funds and using it for their own self-enrichment. So Canada, if you want to take a look at it, it's called Once Warriors.
I've totally heard of this movie, like for the last 20 years. Whenever
you
it
want to
came
watch
out,
it.
yeah, it was highly promoted. But
so
Jason, are we going to do a 3-parter? Because we're at the 1 hour and 15-minute mark, and you know how I am.
Sure. I'm keen, and and of course, being a live broadcast, we want to just touch on the really important topics. We're not planning an army or a war or something like that. We're just talking about the issues of the day. And I'd be really interested to have Colin back, especially. I'd love to, because I know a lot about Māoridom and all that, because I'm from New Zealand, from Mangere, grew up with it. Half my family is Māori. But yeah, I think for any New Zealanders watching this, learning about Canada and Big Bear's tribe, that would be awesome. That would be fantastic, because I've never really.
I could bring some really knowledgeable elders on.
That would be cool. A kōrero between some rangatia. Yeah. What do you reckon, Taylor?
Yeah.
I think that would be awesome.
Absolutely.
As for Whitney, as for the chief, the rangatira in it, we're sort of planning stuff like hiding phones in that when we have meetings and that sort of thing. What you're saying in that, but he's just like real overboard on you know, he should understand that he come on here and that it's probably going to be live in a podcast. So it's still
Probably.
just let it go, man.
It's not. There's nothing that hasn't been. There's nothing that hasn't been spoken about a million times over that we spoke about publicly
That's
on
right.
this already.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just him. He's real like security like that and that. But it'll be right. Throw it up anywhere you want. But I'll probably come and subscribe to your page, Rosie, or to your YouTube, and have a look, Colin, on the Facebook there.
Excellent. I'll send you the links to both the YouTube channel, State of the Nation, and Between Two Rosie Convoy's her podcast is Between Two Flags, and I'll give you all the Facebook links to Colin and Judy, and you guys can go for broke.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, you guys all have a wonderful night.
It's all about the
Thank
networking.
you so much.
Yeah, we have to always remember that we're not in this alone.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Canada is not an island. New Zealand is technically 2 islands, but you're not an island. You're a part of a global freedom movement that we all have to stick together on. We have each other's backs, and I know it's going to be tough. I mean, the next 5 years are going to be anyway.
Who knows?
We're in this
we might
together.
have to bring a whole heap of people over.
We're all in this
We'll
together.
come over to Canada.
And the very big waka, the very big canoe.
Yeah.
Great. We'll bring our crew. You bring yours. We'll get it done.
A lot of us they'll come.
Oxfam. Let's talk about. Let's ask him from East West Convoy. We'll get, because he's a native as well. Let's ask him to come on. He's very shy though, isn't he, Rosie? Can she hear me?
Who? Sorry, there was a truck that just drove by honking.
Yeah, he changed his name. He's now Oxfam. He was the guy who set up the East West Convoy.
Yeah, Jamie Whitmore.
Yeah, Jamie. His tribal name is Oxanwa or something like that. So maybe he's very shy. Maybe he'd like to jump on board as well.
Yeah, I'm sure he's shy for a reason. But anyway, it's day 78 of the carbon tax protest here in Canada. We
Day
just
78.
broke the record of the longest protest here in Canada.
Wow.
Whoa, in history.
Yep, Canadian history. We just made Canadian history. Longest protest. So
that's going to be like when you're like a grandmother and you'll be like, son, when you're talking to your great grandchild.
Back in the old revolution days. Back when grandma was fighting the revolution.
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting trolls now that are like, oh, you guys are like, you're not being shut down because you're white. That's white privilege protesting.
Oh my God.
You listen here, mate. We got a couple indigeni, one from New Zealand, one from Canada.
Yeah. Tell me more about your mom's basement while you hate on me. Anyway. Oh, I'm so glad. Okay, so we're gonna like organize and like schedule a 3-parter, and then we'll have you guys all back. And I don't know if you can see my breath. It's freaking cold. All this global warming is freezing my ass off.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to step out here. I gotta get running before do a few things. I gotta be on the road tomorrow morning early. So bless you all. Hi from Canada, and till we meet again.
Thank you, bro. And thank you, Taylor. Thank you for coming on today. Ka kita ano, as they say in New Zealand. Na miti. Thank you for your work.
How do you say it?
Ka kita ano.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you again.
See you again.
All right.
Colin, we'll see you then.
Okay, thanks, Taylor. You have a fantastic day ahead.
Go feed the cows.
Yeah, good on you, mate.
Tara.
Get some number 8 wire working.
Much love from Canada. We'll see you again
Much
soon.
love. Thank you. Bye.
Ka kite. Okay, madam, I'll give you your white shot and you run the outro.
You have to say goodnight to
Oh, wait, Watina's there? Wait a minute. Watina's back.
Came back to say goodbye.
Excellent.
I suppose everybody's going.
No problem. We're just wrapping up, and we thought about a plan 3, version 3, and Big Bear's going to bring in some elders, some rangatira. He's going to bring in some elders for the next one, so that should be really interesting. And so thank you very much for coming today, and we'll be in touch with you again real soon.
Cool, bro. All the best. Take care. And nice to meet you, fellas.
Take care. Nice
Thank
to meet
you so
you.
much.
Kia ora, and good luck with the contest.
Kia ora.
Rosie, what is it? Ka
Kia
kite
ora.
ano.
Leaving now.
Takita.
Hi. Kia ora. Ka kite anō. Ka kite anō.
Kia ora. Freedom funnel. Freedom.
Okay, so he's gone there. Okay, and there you go. Wrap it up.
All right. Thank you, everyone who tuned in. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you to all our guests. Thank you, Colin Big Bear and the Maori warriors who I can't pronounce. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Don't forget to like and share. And if you haven't already, click the notification bell so that you know next time me and Jason go live. So on that note, God bless New Zealand. God bless Canada. We got this. We're in this together. We got this. All right, Jason. Cue the
We're rolling.
outro.
Cue the outro, everybody. Thank you for joining us. See you later.